Good afternoon, YouTube. Welcome back to Phatkat. Welcome back to Phatkat Collections. All right, folks, unedited, raw, and real. All right, so today I got another security camera. This is by a brand that goes by Placuy. It's P-L-A-C-U-Y, Placuy. Again, these camera names are awful, straight up awful. So I'm sorry, but I gotta keep it real. I don't know who is creating these names for these companies, but they make no sense and they are difficult to say. We don't know how we're supposed to say them. They're awful. However, the price point is amazing and it gets better and better. So this is their wireless battery-powered solar camera, and the price on this, these things are like TVs. They get cheaper and cheaper. We're looking at $41 with a 5% coupon code. Now, by the time you buy this, I know you're going to at this price point. The price may be different, but get it while you can. I'll try to get this video uploaded today. Incredible deal. I mean, I remember when cameras like this, if you want to get any security camera, you're looking at like $100. You didn't get solar powered battery cameras like this. So this is pretty incredible. So let's go ahead and unbox it. Now, most of the time, these cameras, and I say it many times in almost every camera review I do, they're all pretty similar, no matter which brand you go with. I feel like there's kind of like a generic company that's making these, and then these Amazon sellers, I don't know if they, I'm not sure how all that works, if they monopolize the market by just creating different company names and selling them and they're still the same product. I have no idea, but it is pretty amazing that we get products like this. I should probably get a better knife because obviously I didn't even open the box. That we can get products like this for this price point. I mean, again, super cheap and difficult to open. Nevertheless here, I'm really struggling here to get this sucker open. Might have to just destroy the whole box to get in here. All right, we're just gonna cut this sucker right open here. Not good for videos today. All right, so let me crack it open. Yeah, pretty generic here. We have your 24-hour home surveillance sticker. You want to stick that on your house, by all means. It's this camera's big enough people are gonna see it. You get your instruction manual. And again, same like the last 3 cameras I reviewed. You get the solar panel, generic solar panel. This is what comes in almost every camera like this. Generic panel, generic USB-C connector, kind of water resistant plug on this. So I'll show you how that screws in. Standard, almost like what I call like a tripod mount. You get, yeah, it's like identical to everything else I've reviewed. Camera. And let's see, the mounting clip, mounting bracket. Yeah, exactly like the last one I just reviewed. And I do like these. I said it last time. You mount the bracket and then you slide the camera on and it clicks into place. I like these because if you ever have to bring the camera down, you can just leave the mount up there. It makes it very easy to mount this. It has 3 screw hole mounts, or 3 holes for 3 screws to mount this to your house, sheetrock, wherever this is going. A couple accessories. You get the super short USB-C cable, and this is only this is another thing here. Let me just see something here. All right, so you get the USB-C cable, which then screws to this. So this is really short, but you don't necessarily have to have a long cable with this. And this doesn't really make much sense because what you're getting here, let me just kind of demonstrate. You have, this cable is only if you're not going to use a solar panel. You could hardline this, but this is so short. Where are you going to go with this, right? Generally, cameras should be mounted about 9 feet off the ground to give kind of like the best, I'd say, resolution. And that's whether you have a 2K camera like this or a 4K. 9 feet's good. It's kind of out of the way of reaching hands. You can, what you're looking at's on the ground, right? So there's really no reason to have it 30 feet in the air. And when you do that, you're going to lose a lot of resolution. It's going to be harder for you to zoom in and actually see stuff, right? Plate numbers, make of cars, and faces. So 9 feet's a good spot for it. Plus, again, it's out of, it depends on your house. Sometimes you have to mount the camera within reach of somebody who could go up and kind of smack it or unplug it. But I always feel like 9 feet is kind of out of the way. Again, it depends on your house. You have 2 really nice kind of what I consider like popsicle stick antennas. I like that they're not round. They're kind of like a little more discreet, right? Of course, if you look at it from the side, they're fat. You look at it straight on, and they have some element of adjustability. Some of the other cameras I reviewed have the ability to adjust it in and out. This does not, or like toe in or out, right? This just back and forth. So if you're mounting this 9 feet in the air, and depending on where your access point is, you want to kind of position these. If you're 9 feet in the air, your access point's downstairs on a table, kind of position it like that. If it's upstairs, you know, maybe like this. Just kind of picture this as your Wi-Fi signal coming out like a flying saucer like this. It's not really how it works, but the more you can kind of adjust these to kind of be in the direction of your access point, the better. We have some LED lights, lens, looks like a sensor. This is 360 degrees of rotation, although that's not really accurate because these do not rotate 360 degrees. They're more like, I'd say, maybe 340 degrees, but you don't need 360 because you're just gonna be looking at the wall it's mounted to. But I think it would be nice to be able to rotate. Let's say you're looking on this side and you want to jump over the other side, like let's say you're on a corner. It would be nice to continue to kind of free rotate, but I've never reviewed one that actually did that. And then getting back to the USB cable, this is only to charge the battery. So you're not really going to use this, because if you do say, hey, I have a plug, I'm going to plug this in, this really isn't long enough. I mean, I guess it depends on your house, but most likely this isn't going to be long enough. This is really just to kind of give the camera an initial charge if you want to do that, right? And I would if you're going to, you know, it's always good to give them a nice solid charge and don't let the solar panel take over. Get a couple close-ups here. Actually, before I do that, I just want to show you guys this too. And this is your generic solar panel mount. I'm not even going to unbox it. It's so generic. I reviewed it so many times. Basic solar panel mounts to it. Then you have this giant solar panel that is protruding off the side of your house. Now, I'm going to say it like I do in every video in hopes that these companies make some changes. So, actually, let me just show you guys the close-ups here. I mean, you can see it's a nice, I mean, for $41 with 5% off, it's a nice camera. You know, it really is. I mean, it's, you know, it's big. And I prefer cameras like this. But I want you to think about this, too, when buying a security camera. We see all these cool cameras out there now. There's like, oh, I want the pan tilt. I want to be able to, you know, spin it around. But really, depending on where you're mounting this, like I have pan tilt cameras that literally I never move. Like they're just pointing the same direction. And on one of mine, I only want the ability to rotate it back to look at my garage, right? So like, if you have that kind of situation, great, right? But if you're just looking at the front of your house, you know, you may not necessarily need to have a pan tilt camera. So just kind of think about that. It seems like a great idea, but it is large. And if you're not, if you have a situation where you're not going to be spinning this around to kind of hit different areas, then I'd probably just go to stationary standard camera. It's going to be a lot smaller. And less kind of in your face, more discreet, but you may want something. And I like the look of cameras. It lets people know, hey, you're being watched, right? Just kind of maybe think twice. Again, it's not a guarantee. It's just another layer of security, another element of peace of mind, right? But you know, overall, it's a nicely well-made camera. It should have underneath this port here your reset button and a micro SD card. Again, let's start with my pet peeve. So one, doesn't come with the micro SD card. Great price, but now you got to buy an SD card. And a lot of times these companies will say, hey, we give free cloud recording, free this, free that. It's anything free, never. I've never had a free plan that ever really allowed you to really go back and look at footage, right? And sometimes you want to go back and look at footage that's already been 24 hours. You might miss it. Just spend the money if you're going to order this and get an SD card. Get one, the biggest this will support. I think it's like 128 gigs, so don't quote me on that. It does get 4.5 stars on Amazon, which is great. That's out of 45 ratings. Not a lot, but again, I don't think anybody's really going to be disappointed with this for the price. There's always going to be little things. I always have little pet peeves. Let me go off. So let me start with another one. I don't like these generic cameras where it's the same solar panel, and then you have this huge panel. These cameras charge really well with the solar panels. I mean, I have mine in areas that don't even get direct sun, and they're always 100% charged. And that's like in the winter too. So this panel, I think, could be made half the size. And I really like to see them kind of integrate something where if you're not going to make the panel part of the camera, right? And that's okay if you don't, but maybe make something that allows the person to mount the solar panel to the camera to make a nice little neat package. You can do that by wall mounting your solar panel over the camera like this, but then you have two things you got to screw into your house and line up. And then of course you have this giant cord, and this is my other pet peeve. They should really make the cord like they gave you right here. What did I do with it? They provided, you know, the screw-in USB cable connection, why not make this really short, just long enough to plug into the camera, right? Even this is too long. Like, look at how long this is. Like, this is pointless. So make this a little shorty, right? Or just an actual plug on here. And then make the, the option for somebody, if they want to mount this really close, that they just have maybe like 6 inches of cable to deal with. Maybe 8. And then it's a lot easier to kind of tuck this, maybe wrap it around the back. But this, if you're going to mount this like I do, something like a nice, neat package like this, then you have this huge cable to deal with. And of course, if you're handy, you can cut and splice and do all that. And that's probably what I'll do. But, it'd be nice to take this right out of the box and be able to just mount this. Or I always like the idea of having the ability to have it clip right onto the camera. So you have the ability to mount it somewhere off, if you want to put it in direct sun, and maybe you want to relocate this kind of up near the gutter line, around the corner. You have the extra cable to do that, but it'd be really nice to not have to use a cable. In this case, they all do this generic panel, huge cable, and then you're trying to figure out what to do with this. Generally, if you do get this camera and you're going to mount this, I would recommend mounting the panel kind of up higher, maybe up near, kind of keep it maybe near a gutter. This way you can kind of mount this near the gutter, run the cable down to your camera, and then kind of tuck this behind the gutter. You might zip tie it, you might just put in a few staples, and this way it's going to kind of be out of sight, and it won't be so, you don't want to mount these things, have it look sloppy on your house. I mean, maybe you do, but I sure as hell don't. That's not how I roll. But again, putting those little negative things aside, it's a great value. It's a nice camera. I haven't, again, tested this, but I've tested many like this, and they're decent for what you get. Every camera I've ever reviewed gets fooled by sunlight going in and out in the clouds. They're constantly going off with false alerts. That's pretty much what you have to deal with every camera I've reviewed. So just kind of just understand that. Trees, leaves blowing, unless you have this somewhere mounted where you don't get any change in sunlight, any change in lighting, they just get triggered very easily. So, and you can play with the settings, but I mean, again, I've done all that for years, and it seems to be the same story. So let's read you what they state here about it. Solar security camera, wireless outdoor, 2K powered outdoor camera with color of night vision. That's pretty much verbatim right off their Amazon listing. Again, you get that 5% off coupon, 3 megapixel resolution. It says here 1080p security. Again, they're kind of bragging about how much higher resolution it is. It is no different than any other camera out there. You get 1080p security. It says here let me just read what they state here before I screw it up. Outdoor wireless security camera comes with 3 megapixel resolution, which is 1.5 times more than 1080p cameras. I misspoke. With 4 night vision lights, the 2K lens ensures it can view up to 30 feet of color and clear image even in pitch darkness. Yeah, you'll be able to see in darkness, but making out faces, very difficult at night. It says here, supports human motion detection. This is the AI detection a lot of these cameras have. That'll reduce false alarms by 90%. I've never had one. They're always going off. Human, no human, trees, leaves blowing, flag blowing, they all go off. So, I'll try this, but I highly doubt it's going to be any different. You get that 350 degrees of viewing angle and dual microphone interaction. Never really put that to the test. Generally when you get... I think we all live busy lives, and who's just sitting there looking at the camera, waiting for somebody to come up, and then maybe you're ready to go, like if you're waiting for a package, and you got to spend 8 hours staring at your camera, and then the guy comes up, and you say, hey, I'm here, but generally most people get the alert takes time. By the time you open the app, get the camera to load up, and then, actually look at what detected the motion, the person's long gone, right? But you do get 4 times digital zoom, and let's see here. They say IP65 waterproof. I guess some guy tried to correct me on this the other day. I never liked the word waterproof. I would say IP65 is water resistance. Nothing is waterproof, and to state waterproof, I know that may be the industry standard, but waterproofing means water cannot penetrate it. You dunk this, it's going to ruin it. So, and I understand IP65 is a rating. I like to say water resistant. None of these cameras are 100% water resistant. I always recommend using the solar panel as a little roof if you can mount it right above, or you can buy, I've reviewed them in the past, actual little plastic roofs to mount over the security camera. It'll help to keep the direct sunlight off the top and help to keep some of the water from penetrating, but they are pretty reliable, and most time people are mounting these things under like kind of their roof line, their gutter line, so there's a little bit of protection. And it says here it doesn't support 5G. Not many cameras do. It is 2.4G wireless, which is going to give you there's no reason to have it connect to 5G anyway, unless you're running like a 4K resolution camera. Even if 2.4 gig is totally fine. Again, it depends on signal strength, but for a camera like this, that's acceptable. And it does say here it has a standby time of 3 to 6 months when powered by batteries. That's totally going to be how often the sucker's going off. And it says here it will support up to 128 gig card. Again, I wish they would have included that. They're so cheap nowadays. Up the price by $10 and include the card. This way people don't have to worry about getting something else. And then what else? That's really about it. It says you can integrate this with the smart home assistants. We know who they are. I've never had one where you can actually say, hey, check out, hey, Google. Damn. Never mind. Hey, such and such. Show me this camera and have it actually work, like either through their app or you might be able to get it to show up on the TV, but all this takes time. I don't know. I just don't really use it like that. I'm generally not sitting in front of my TV looking at my security camera and saying, hey, Smart Assistant, show me the camera. I just pull out my phone and look at it, So, but again, they're kind of gimmicky, but that's not just this brand, that's all brands. So that's about it, really. Great value. I know it's going to be a fantastic camera. This one I'm probably going to mount like at my parents' house, to be honest with you. And, it's good peace of mind to have these. And that's the thing. For the price point, no matter where you live, these are fantastic. And I could see this being really beneficial if you live in an apartment and you're not going to mount several cameras. Like I have 15 cameras. Maybe even more now. I get every angle, but if you live in an area where you only want to mount one camera, the pan, tilt, zoom might be a good option for you because maybe you want to be able to, let's say you live in an apartment that overlooks a parking lot, right? You may want to be able to swivel to the right and get that whole parking lot. This might be a good option for you. So, what else? That's about it, folks. Let me know if you guys have any questions. I want to thank Placuy for sending me this camera for a review. Definitely check it out. I reviewed a camera the other day. The price was it was a non-solar pan tilt camera. Incredible value for $25. I gotta say, this is a better value. You get the battery and the solar panel. You don't have to worry about plugging it in. And the cool thing about this too, what I like about these cameras, if you can get Wi-Fi to it, it's gonna work. So you might have in a situation where you live on a big piece of property and you don't have power on, like, let's say a power pole. And I don't recommend this, but a lot of folks have, technically if you have a pole, you don't own that, I think even I think they're called bounce poles on your property you don't own. And you might, not really sure, but maybe you don't have power there, right? Maybe you have a tree on your property that you're not going to run an extension cord out there, but maybe your Wi-Fi signal strength is good enough to reach that. Maybe you have a directional access point where you send Wi-Fi somewhere. These are great because you can kind of tuck this away somewhere and still be able to get a good vantage point of wherever you're trying to keep an eye on. Another thing I want to mention too, if you are going to do something like that and you want to put this somewhere discreet where you have Wi-Fi and of course you're allowed to put it, I've painted some of these before too, so you can very easily mask this off and go ahead and camo it up and mount this somewhere where it's really going to be out of sight. I think companies like this should start, they always make them white and I get it, but I think really in today's day and age, I think, making an option white, black, and green would be fantastic because those are kind of like your main colors. Most houses, your trim where you're going to be mounting this is white, right? Again, I know sometimes houses are different colors, I get it, but generally you have dark molding and you have a trim and you have white trim, and that's pretty standard. And you would want to get the colors kind of blend in a little bit, I would think. And then again, if you're going to mount this somewhere in a tree, I think having like black, white, brown, and green would be fantastic. Another option for you, if you're good with vinyl, you can wrap it. So anyway, just a couple ideas, couple options for you. Let me know if I can help answer any questions. Again, thank you, Placuy, for your generosity in collaborating with Phatkat Collections. And you guys have a fantastic day. Do subscribe to the channel and take care.